I'm Keisha Charmaine and I'm back, and this video was inspired by some conversation that came up on my Instagram. So pretty much every summer for the past few years I've been complaining, I'm sorry, but I've been complaining about how my long locks have become a nuisance. They just have been getting on my nerves, and it's just harder to appreciate them in the summertime. So as I have been talking about, my struggle with my long hair and how I want to trim them and cut them, a lot of you guys leave me comments talking about, oh, I can't wait until I get those struggles. I can't wait. I wish I had those problems. But it kind of made me feel a little weird about that. So I kind of just wanted to discuss the pros and cons of both long locks and short locks. So we're going to start off with long locks, the pros. Now, is it just me, or is it that people with long locks are held in like a higher esteem, like they're respected more? I guess it's because of their commitment to the journey. Longer locks means they've been locked for more years, so that means a longer commitment, right? So I guess they're respected more and held in higher regard because of that. And I guess that's a pro. That doesn't really matter, but it's a pro. When you have long locks, it feels like an achievement because you stuck through the journey, you stayed strong on those nights when you wanted to cut it off or you wanted to relax it or comb it out, you stayed committed. So in a way, it's like a badge of honor. For my ladies, as you know, long hair in general tends to look more feminine. So a lot of the time, we ladies, we want long locks because we want the femininity. We want the long hair look. In my opinion, when it comes to men as well, it can look more feminine, but not always. I think that long hair can look really masculine on men. It depends on that individual man. Now, in my opinion, believe it or not, long locks are much easier to retwist. Some of you may think, oh, but it's so much hair, isn't it a hassle? Not when it comes to retwisting, and in my opinion, it's because of the weight of the hair. You don't need to use clips to hold your retwist in place because the weight of your hair holds it in place. So it makes the retwist go by faster. And naturally, if you've been locking your hair for a long time and you've been doing it yourself, over the years, you're better at it. So by the time your hair is a certain length, you're probably a pro at your own retwist. In a way, long locks are more versatile because you can style them in ways to make them look shorter. Like, for instance, do you see these braids? My braids right now are like bra strap length, but if my hair was straight down, my hair would be down to my butt. Okay, so you have more options. You have more options to make your hair look shorter and to do different styles like curls, which also take away length, so you still have some length if your hair is really long and you do curls. Simply because you have more hair, you have more options when it comes to styling, even when it comes to like avant-garde hairstyles. Now, in my opinion, the messy root look, it looks better on long locks. It just does to me. In my opinion, when you have longer hair and your hair is not retwisted at the roots, it doesn't look as messy as it does when your hair is shorter when you don't have a retwist. I'm not quite sure why that is, but I just think that it's probably because all of the length is a distraction and you don't even notice how messy your roots are. That's my personal opinion. And last but not least, my final pro for long locks is that they keep you warm in the winter. And I know that won't apply to everybody. We don't all live in a climate that gets winter or that gets cold. But I live in New York City and it's cold in the winter and in the fall. And I appreciate my long locks that time of year because I can use them as a scarf, and I absolutely do. Now it's time for some cons of long locks. And if you've been following me on Instagram, then you already know what I'm gonna say. It gets in the way. Long locks tend to get in the way by accident when you wear them down. And I've heard people complain about their locks getting caught in car doors. I know personally, sometimes when I'm laying down and I get up, like my arm is laying down on the lock, and then I get up and I tug on my root, and I'm like, it's just, long locks, they get in the way, and that can be a pain. Obviously, you can remedy that by wearing your hair in a ponytail, pulling it back. Sometimes you want to wear your hair down though, you know, and it gets in the way. In the summertime, long locks are so hot. It's like you're wearing a sweater. It's like you're wearing a sweater. When you have long locks, you're probably spending more money on shampoo and conditioner because you just need more product because you have more hair. It's much harder to dry long locks. After you wash it and condition it, it takes longer to dry. It makes sense because it's a lot more hair, so it takes longer to dry, and that can be a pain. You want your hair to make sure that it's fully dried so you don't get any mildew. When your locks are pretty long, that can be difficult, so that's another con. Another con of long locks is that it's harder to style on your own, and it takes longer. If you're tender-headed like someone like me, it's really difficult and it's a pain. The longer my hair has gotten, the more tender-headed I have become, and that's been a real nuisance. And that's one of the reasons why I don't style my locks as often as I had in the past. Now, my last con is that long locks get pretty heavy when they're wet. So it's not as fun when you're having fun at the beach or in the pool. All the water is weighing down your hair, and that can be pretty uncomfortable. Now on to short locks. So here are some of the pros when it comes to short locks, okay? Short locks are a lot cooler in the summertime. I really miss having short locks for that reason. Short locks are easier to braid and to curl, especially when you style your hair when it's wet. Since short locks dry faster, you can take out the rollers or take down the braids and you have a braid out or you have a curl set, and you're able to achieve it a lot faster when your hair is shorter. Short locks, they don't get in the way. And when I say short locks, I mean shoulder length locks. They don't get in the way. Shoulder length and shorter, they don't get in the way. Short locks are easier to style. Now, when I say that, I'm really referring to people who have shoulder length to bra strap length locks, because I know it can be difficult to style really short locks. Short locks are so light when they're wet, you don't even notice that locks tend to hold so much moisture because they're so light when they're wet. Now I'm here for the cons of short locks. Especially when your locks are short, like starter locks, baby locks. For us women, it can be a struggle to feel feminine when it comes to our hair care. Society, we tend to hold longer hair as more feminine, so it can be a shift in our mindset, and that can be a really difficult process for a lot of us. I know it was for me. It can be really easy for short locks to look messy. When you have long locks and they're messy, like there's no retwist, and you can put it in a messy bun, and people will be like, wow, your hair looks so cool. Like, how did you do that? But you're probably not gonna get any compliments quite like that with short locks. You'll probably just look like you rolled out of bed. You probably just look like you need to retwist it, and that's okay. But that can be a struggle for some of us who care about that sort of thing. And my last con is that it can be harder to retwist short locks, especially when short locks are starter locks and they're baby locks and they're not mature. It can be really difficult because you need clips. Depending on your preference, I personally feel like when you have starter locks and baby locks, you should clip the lock at the root and at the end to train the entire lock to lock uniformly and to stay smooth and to reduce frizz. So that can be a long process when you consider using gel, retwisting, and clipping it in place. When people with long locks like me, you can just use the gel if you choose to do so at all, retwist, and leave it alone. You don't even have to clip it. So those are my pros and cons when it comes to short locks and long locks. I want you to leave me a comment below and let me know a pro or a con that I forgot when it comes to short locks or long locks, and leave the comment below. Love your locks no matter what length they're at, whether they're short, medium length, or long. Personally, I think the ideal lock length is bra strap length. And that is from experiencing all of the lengths up until butt length, okay? I think bra strap length is ideal. And maybe even waist length, but I'm pushing it a little bit. Okay, thanks for watching. Love, light, and locks. All right, and cut.